We have made it beyond week 0. College football is finally here for everybody, not just the select few. And Tyler, we're here on the dawn. It's 2 hours until Thursday, 2 hours until football officially begins for everybody not in the state of Kansas or Hawaii or California. I could keep listing it. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is it's finally prediction time. We get to see how accurate we are and what we talk about in week 1. Will it even mean anything once we get to November? Tyler, I have no idea if it will, but as always, the exciting ride begins for so many teams. It's going to be another fun season. If week 0 was any indication, this is going to be another fun year.
Oh, yeah. Bring it on. And a good slate of games, too, to start week 1. Got some big marquee matchups. You got some matchups that you think, we'll see if they really matter down the road that could wind up being big time. So I'm excited.
And I mean, it gets going with big noon kickoff. It's a shame this game isn't in prime time. It really is. The number 1 team in the
It
country
should
in
be. It is
Texas.
criminal what
Yeah,
Big Noon has done.
it
Yes.
is. It is. But number 1 Texas, number 3 Ohio State, coming to you with the what's going to feel like the crack of dawn for some of those people. Ohio State, they're getting to where they don't like those big noon games. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to have our best game at noon every single week. Trust me, we did that at OU at 11 a.m. forever. But this is one of those games that you're always excited to see. When 2 blue bloods get together, that is always a special thing. It's a rematch of last year's semifinal. You're going to see some new faces, though. There's no Quinn Ewers. There's no Will Howard at quarterback, obviously. It is the Arch Manning show for Texas. That has been talked about to the ends of the earth. Julian saying, of course, over at Ohio State. But I think the battle here, Tyler, I mean, this has been kind of interesting. You look at the ESPN analytics, they go lean Texas on the matchup predictor. Everyone I've seen, and this is not, experts or anything, this is just, talking to fans and seeing people on social media, it feels like if you're a Texas fan, you feel pretty confident about Texas going into the shoe and winning this game. If you're anybody else, it's no, Ohio State's going to win. Are you kidding me? It's at their place. We got to see what Texas is made of first. But these are 2 teams that should both be playoff teams, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see them again sometime later on in December, January. It wouldn't shock me if these 2 paths crossed again. Ohio State also a 1.5-point favorite in this game.
Yeah, it is. I could see, and we talked about this in the SEC preview where, look, Texas is sipping that Kool-Aid. They feel it's now or never, right? Arch is the golden boy. They've got a heck of a team around him. They feel like it doesn't matter who the opponent is. It could be God himself. They're going to go in there and get themselves the W. For Ohio State, you proved all the haters wrong, right? You got the championship. Ryan Day's vindicated. But now the question is, Cade, are they going to have that same hunger we saw last season?
Yeah.
You got people to, I don't want to say replace, but holes to fill, right? Will Howard, for whatever you want to think about him, down the stretch was money. That being said, you got arguably the 2 best football players on the field for this game if you are Ohio State, right? Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs. Can Texas match that? It's such a fascinating game because I think at the end of the day, no matter what happens, like you kind of alluded to, both these teams are probably going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and this
is more of a preview maybe of what's to come.
Yeah, this is one of those that, I mean, you shouldn't get punished. Someone will have to lose this game, but I don't think you're going to see either team get punished if you do lose this game. I mean, that'd be stupid of the playoff committee to do that. But I'm not here to argue about the playoff committee on August 27th as we're recording this. So we're not to that level of discussion yet. We'll get there, but we're not to that level yet. But I am intrigued to see, I guess, one thing for both sides. Usually when you try to go into, what's the matchup, what's the big key breakdown, I want to see, how Julian Sayin plays, of course, but I also want to see how does that wide receiver core of Ohio State. Anytime you see Jeremiah Smith, he's one of the most dangerous guys in the sport. He's got Carnell Tate there to help him. And remember, Carnell Tate had some big moments down the stretch in the season. He was one of those. I would kill for that to be my best third. Ohio State's third receiver would be the star guy on 95% of teams. It was one of
No
those
question.
scenarios, and now you get him in a duo with Smith. Texas, they'll have some guys. I mean, that Texas defense is going to be great, but how good is that secondary going to be when those two are testing you every single play?
Yeah, that's the question. This is a big. I mean, and we've talked about this before too. Coming to the season where Texas has all this hype, but immediately there's no room to get comfortable. There's no room for you to kind of ease into the season. You got to be ready week one. They talk like they are. You know,
They do.
you've seen the comments to the defensive side. They're ready to get after Julian Sand. Arch seems cool as a cucumber. He doesn't seem phased by any pressure. He had that sick quote the other day where somebody asked him, "Hey, the target's on your back. What are you gonna do?" He said, "No, no, target's not on our back. Red dots are on everybody else's."
That's a pretty good
Yeah,
quote.
it's
I
like,
mean, if we're talking about quotes that go hard, that's a quote that
yeah,
goes hard. I can't lie. That's fire. But
that's pretty good,
I
right?
I
So
mean, I'm
they're talking the talk, Cade,
they're
but
talking the
are they gonna
talk.
walk the walk?
I mean, you could say they walked the walk last year. I mean, they made the semifinals, and that was with Quinn Ewers, who everyone was, unless you're Quinn Ewers himself or related to him. I think every Texas fan is, yeah, this was great, but let's see what happens now. Let's see what happens now that Arch is in charge. And I mean, again, he's going to get an amazing test. We talked about it with saying we're going to talk about it with Arch Manning as well. You want to prove it game? You got the prove it game. But Tyler, we've got to make a pick here. We could ramble on about this matchup forever. It is truly an intriguing matchup. You don't see these two get together often. You don't see these two get together after playing in the semis a year before. Someone has got to win this game. Ohio State with that home field advantage. I don't know if the early morning, I don't know if you're a believer in the early morning kind of dilutes some of that home field advantage. There's an argument to be made about what home field advantage even means in the sport anymore, anyways. But at the end of the day, where do you fall in a top three battle to start the season?
Man, Cade, this is one of those games when we talk about games of inches. This is going to be it, right? One mistake could easily decide the same. When I picture how this is going to play out, I think you're going to see a script very similar to what we saw in Kansas State, Iowa State. I don't mean, the rain, the conditions, and
Yeah,
all
I
that.
say I hope
Obviously,
you're
that
not
played a
predicting
factor.
4 fumbles in the first half.
But is what I am predicting a little bit. I think you'll see the defenses have the early advantage. I think you'll see each offense kind of have that moment of weakness, maybe multiple. I don't predict maybe as sloppy as what the K State Iowa State game was, but I think there will be some of those type of moments where you're like, ooh, that's not great. And then I think this finishes down the stretch very well in the late third quarter, fourth quarter. I want to say that Ohio State, hey, they're the defending champs. All the hype's on Texas, but they're going to have that moment where they say, hey, we're the champs. You got to respect that. But I'm kind of drinking the Texas Kool-Aid. I think Arch, look, you can say what you want about his potential skills, what he might be. He's a Manning. He's been trained for this moment his whole life. If there's one thing that we know about the Manning family, especially Peyton, especially Eli, and what he's been around with those guys, he's going to be ready for this big moment. And I think at the end of the day, going to look at this game and say, okay, Arch is here. He's ready. Who's going to stop Texas? Give me Texas by a field goal.
There you go. That's a very thought out take. I mean, the way I see it is, I agree with you. I think this is a tight game. This is going to be back and forth the entire time. I think no one really pulls away from each other. But something tells me at the end of the day, Ohio State at home, I feel like I have to trust that. I feel like I have, they're not playing Michigan, so we can throw that out the window. Michigan's nowhere lurking around the corner to beat them again. I think Texas, they might be a little bit more talented than Ohio State, just in terms of I've seen their quarterback before. I haven't seen Ohio State's outside of a few passes against Purdue, I think it was. So I think it makes sense to pick Texas, but something tells me I cannot pick Texas, Tyler. That you can
Mm,
say
mm.
you could say that that's me being a bit biased, and I am a human being. I have my biases, but I think at the end of the day, Ohio State, I like this as a grow up game for Julian Sain to come right out of the gate and say, okay, I may not be that guy yet, but I'm going to show you what I can be. And this Ohio State team will rally around the offense, defense, everything will be good. I like Ohio State to hold on for dear life and win a big game to prove that they are, once again, a top 2 team in the sport.
Wow.
Yeah.
Disagreement straight away. I love it.
Disagreement straight away. And we'll see if we disagree on the next one because LSU goes to Death Valley. No, not that one. They're actually going to the other Death Valley in Clemson. And yes, I did say Clemson. Clemson fans get really mad about how you say their name because no one could say it correctly. I don't blame them. I can't do it for the life of me. I always throw a P in there or that S becomes a Z. I'm just going to throw that out of the way. That's how that works. But LSU, let's start with LSU because, I mean, there's a lot going on. Brian Kelly, can he win a season opener? He has not done it with LSU yet. But you think about this team, you think about Nussmeier at quarterback, all the hype, once again, that LSU has, the offense that is designed to put up as many points as they possibly can with a defense that is okay. And that's all that defense needs to be is okay. We saw what they did a few years ago when they were terrible, and they still got dragged to a great season by their amazing offense with Jaden Daniels. We're not asking, LSU's not asking for that. We're not asking for that as college football fans. We just want to see LSU at its full potential. 3.5-point favorites, though, however, are the other Tigers. Clemson, Cade Klubnik back again, a Clemson team that kind of really went over a major transformation at the end of the season. I mean, we had our doubts about them. They got beat up at home by Louisville, and then you get to, okay, here we are, win the ACC again, make the playoffs, play Texas decently in Austin, and all this hype has come out. Clemson number 4 in the preseason poll, LSU number 9. It's Saturday night in Death Valley. Not that Death Valley. Again, I have to rephrase that because that is a popular saying down there. But it's going to be a fun one. Whoever wins this should be able to call their stadium Death Valley, and the other one's got to pick another name. Can we agree on that at least?
I like
we should
it.
not
Yeah,
have
I like
2 Death Valleys, both to teams that are Tigers.
No, I like that for sure. But no, Kate, I think even more so than, Texas, Ohio State, this game is going to really set the narrative for one of these teams this season, right? Both these quarterbacks, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, are guys that are being hyped as potential number 1 picks. They're in that conversation when you look at, what the scouts are saying about them. And this is the best stage you could ask for. You have a chance to really get that huge marquee win if you go out and perform early as well, especially if, let's say, Arch doesn't have the best day. Hey, you could take that narrative week 1. I mean, you could grab a hold of it. That being said, do I trust this Clemson team? If this was any other opponent, I'd feel a little uneasy, right? Because as great of a finish they had to the season last year, I think there's still holes in this team, right? And you could say, hey, the ACC isn't quite, the grueling march that the SEC and Big Ten schedule would offer. And I think while Clemson will be improved, I still don't know, even though they're ranked number 4, I know it sounds crazy, I still don't know if they have what it takes to really be a serious championship contender this season. It's going to fall on Cade Klubnik a lot, and the rest we'll find out. But with what you laid out about Brian Kelly, there's something that just happens to him in these week 1 games. I don't know what it is. We've seen it the last few years. It's like the team just loses their mind. So I'm kind of at a toss-up on this one. I think in any other scenario, I might take the opposing team here. But I think when you get down to it, with Brian Kelly's history, with what Clemson's feeling about themselves, I have a feeling that Cade Klubnik is going to really pop this year in the sense that you're going to see this is another guy that's in a lineage of what Dabo Swinney has developed to be great quarterbacks, right? Trevor Lawrence, the last big one. I'm not saying he's Trevor Lawrence, but I think he'll prove that he belongs in that conversation with those guys in terms of next great quarterbacks at LSU or at Clemson.
Yes, again, this is what I mean. They're both Tigers. This is what happens.
I know.
They're both Tigers, and they both have purple in their color scheme. This isn't good, Tyler.
It's not good. It's confusing.
It's not good. Like I said, winners got to keep something from this game. This should be a trophy game. We might as well. If anything else can be a trophy game, we could have a battle over the name of the stadium. But Tyler, I feel like if this is a week 2 game, I feel really confident picking LSU to go on the road and win this. Because, I
Exactly.
mean, if you give
Exactly.
me who I trust more as a quarterback, yeah, I think Klubnik can take the next step. All the hype leads to believe that he's going to do it this year. I want to see it happen first. I know where Nussmeier's at. I know where that LSU offense is. I'm excited to see Cade Durham again go off at running back. I love watching him. But I want to see what Clemson shows me. And if this was a week 2 game, I would say, this isn't even a debate in my mind, but being that week 1, we know what Brian Kelly does not have his teams ready that early in the season. I don't know what it is. I don't know why this happens, but they always find a way to stumble out of the gate. And I think it happens again here. I like Clemson to win at home in week 1.
How are we going to be on the same page with Clemson? That's weird.
I know. And they have the exact same reasoning for it. It's kind of scary, but
it is.
That's how the sport works sometimes. But we'll jump down to the Sunday game. Sunday night football as well in Miami, where a team that can actually do something, not named the Dolphins, the Canes taking on Notre Dame. This will be another great one. Top 10 battle again. Notre Dame, 2.5-point favorites in this one. Notre Dame, of course, coming off that national championship game appearance. Miami coming off a devastating loss in the Pop-Tarts Bowl to Iowa State. But Carson Beck, the quarterback at Miami, now transferring over from Georgia. One of the big stories in the ACC, obviously. A lot of people kind of feel like, okay, if Miami's not going to win anything this year, again, we've just got to assume that Mario Cristobal is not going to win anything. And there's a lot of reasons not to believe Mario Cristobal is going to just win anything. There's a lot of reasons to doubt him. And you get Carson Beck as well. Carson Beck's in that same category. I got to see him not be a turnover machine first against the Notre Dame defense that, we all know what Notre Dame did last year. It didn't matter who the quarterback was. They were going to find a way to slow this thing down, give it off to Jeremiah Love, and they're going to play this thing out and grind you to death. And Notre Dame's going to do it again, and we'll see what happens at Hard Rock on Sunday night.
Yeah, this is one of those games where I've seen a weird narrative develop over this game. Coming into this one in the middle of the season, middle of the off season, people went from Carson Beck, kind of last legs here, see if he could actually prove he's a legit quarterback. Now, when you look at stats on paper, you look at his career, that sounds silly, right? The dude won national championships, but the definitive, for the most part, narrative is kind of in spite of him, right? They were able to do that despite him maybe not being the best at times. And I really think, Cade, what last season showed us is that Notre Dame took that loss early in the season to Northern Illinois and responded to it the best way possible. I mean, and that's not easy to do as a program, right? And Marcus Freeman, I think, at that point, with the run they had, unlocked something that he needed to unlock to be kind of bona fide as the head coach. And I think that was huge for him down the stretch. Yeah, you didn't win a championship out of it, but I think you reestablished what Notre Dame football is about, right? You talk about that defense, getting after people. They're going to run the ball down your throat. They're going to, maybe at times it's not going to look great, but they're going to grip by you if they have to. And I think that's huge going into this season because it feels like Notre Dame has their identity back for the first time in a while.
It does.
I think when you get to this game against Miami, I think Miami's still searching for that identity. There's a lot of hype around it. Top 10 to starting both the coaches in AP poll, which we've talked about how that kind of shocked us. And I don't know if Miami's ready for this yet. I think Notre Dame winds up winning this. I won't say comfortably, but I think when you look at the game, you go, yeah, Notre Dame's clearly the better team.
Yeah, this is one that, even when we did our preseason AP video, the team we both agreed on that is top 10 and isn't going to be at the end of the year is Miami. I don't, until I see them actually put it together for a full season, I'm not going to believe in Miami as anything more than a hype beast of a team. That they're always, every single offseason, you're going to hear about, okay, what is Miami going to do this year? This is the year things change. And it doesn't. And Notre Dame, to their credit, they were in that position for a long time too. Of all right, is Notre Dame ever going to do anything? But guess what? They finally just proved it. And they did it in a year where they lost to Northern Illinois of all teams. I mean, that is inexplicable. That is odd beyond odd. But Notre Dame, you said it, they have an identity. It doesn't matter. They could put you or me at quarterback, Tyler, and you'd still feel pretty confident. Okay, we're going to run the ball. We're going to play great defense. We're going to do some little dink and dunk passes here when we need to, throw some screens at you when we feel like it. That's their offense. They're comfortable with playing hey, we just want to score 28 points at maximum and feel pretty good about ourselves. That's all they need to do because they have that confidence in their defense. That's something that I don't think Miami has. They have the swagger, but you've got to have confidence with it as well. That's something I feel like people don't talk about as much. You assume they're the same thing, think they can be differentiated a little bit. Either way, this is a long way to say I like Notre Dame to cover it. I think they win this one on the road.
There we go. Back-to-back agreements.
I know. Well, we're going to keep it going because Alabama goes to Florida State. And
are we going to keep it going? No.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to say, does Bama cover the 13.5? Maybe we, probably still agree, I think, because this is one of those games that if this was played a decade ago, we're really excited for this game. If this game was played 3 years ago, we're really excited for this game. Bama coming to Tallahassee. It's not a neutral site game. This is going to be an amazing environment. This is going to be so great. Florida State went 2-10 last year. This is a year where it's Ty Simpson time for Alabama. Alabama team that looks really complete on paper. You just need to see how that quarterback play works. And they'll get some testing done against Florida State because, my goodness, the narrative going into this game, Thomas Castellanos, a transfer from Boston College, goes to Florida State. And my goodness, he wants to inspire this team. He wants to talk of the talk and say, we're going to beat Alabama. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And I respect the idea of saying, hey, no one else is going to be confident in us. We've got to be confident in ourselves. That, in theory, is not a bad model to go by. The problem is Alabama's on the other side of the field, and they're hearing all of that. And if you don't think they're going to try to absolutely go after you and say, yeah, we're proving a point today, we're going to win by 20 or more just because we can, I don't know what to tell you. I think, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think this could be a very rough day for Florida State.
Yeah, I don't like the talking going on for Florida State because, like I said, you're coming off a 2-10 season, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, like I said, you want to inspire confidence in yourselves. That's great. But, and I know Nick Saban's gone in terms of, leading that program, but I don't want to evoke any bad juju from those Alabama guys. I mean, you remember what happened to Notre Dame in that title game. Manti Te'o, they're talking all this crap about, we could shut down Alabama offense.
I just
it's
always think of
7-0.
I just think of poor Vanderbilt that one time they started 3-0 and said, we're coming for you, Bama. And then they got beat like 59-0 or something. It was very,
I would not
sobering, I would think, for Vanderbilt to be like, oh yeah, we're still Vanderbilt. Now, of course, they got their retribution years later, but there's a reason why we want Bama is usually we like saying it, but it usually doesn't go well once you throw that into the universe. It's not something you can take back. And Florida State has been saying it from the hilltops. And I don't know if they really want Bama. They're gonna act like they do, but I think this is the maybe take a nap in the middle of it type of window if this is your big game.
Yeah, well, to do it going into the season, that's even scary, right? It's one thing to, like I said, kind of have the Vanderbilt start. You get a little confidence behind you, and then you say we want Bama. Sure, that's maybe a little bit better. But when you give Bama time to stew on that for a couple months and really dissect you, boy, I don't want to be on the other side of that train.
Yeah, and a Bama team that's already aggravated from only winning 9 games last year. And being one of the biggest disappointments.
Worst team they've had in a while.
Yeah, worst team they've had in 17 years or something crazy like that. They're already considered a big disappointment because of that 9-4 and losing 2 games to teams that fundamentally could not throw the ball. I mean, it was just so much went wrong for Alabama. They get a great opportunity against someone running their mouth to come in there and just smack them in a very feel good moment, I would think, for Alabama fans if they can start the season not just with a win, but if they can get a blowout win as well. But of course,
Yeah, that's what they'll be thinking.
we got to talk about the other side. If Florida State somehow wins this game,
Well,
the hot take machine factory kicks into overdrive after this. I mean, the fire DeBoer will start approximately 1 second after the game ends, I would think.
I'd probably start in that fourth quarter when it's clear they're going to lose the game
Probably,
at that
yeah.
point.
That is true. That is true. But
And maybe even before that for letting Florida State hang around to begin
yeah,
with.
that is true. It might even start in the first quarter if it's 0-0 for long enough, Tyler. You never know. Some message board people are crazy like that, but
Oh, yes, they
we're
are.
both
Yes,
in
they are.
agreement. Alabama wins this one. Let's go on to kind of the this is the pick your whichever game you think is the fifth best game. There's those core 4 determiners. We'll go with the other Sunday game. How about a Sunday doubleheader? I like that. The early one in Atlanta. It's Virginia Tech taking on South Carolina. I'm usually not a fan of these big kickoff games, but I will let it slide if it gives us an additional Sunday college game. Virginia Tech is just kind of here in this matchup. I mean, South Carolina is a 7.5 point favorite. No one's really talking about Virginia Tech. They just kind of feel like they're the team that's here. And I feel that's a little sad because we know what Virginia Tech can be. We've seen that happen, but that feels more and more like a different era of college football ago, mainly because it was. But South Carolina, once again, here, a lot of hype behind the Gamecocks, and I absolutely get why. If Lenore Sellers is as good as advertised and he can keep building on last year, they're going to be pretty good. You get your running back cleared and Faison, the Utah State transfer from the NCAA. You're good to go. You actually now can have your starting running back be your starting running back. I like what South Carolina has in this game. I think they have the pretty clear matchup advantage here. But South Carolina, like we said in the SEC preview, they're going to be one of those teams to watch with great interest. Now, they lose a bit on defense. There is a trade off there, but we'll see what problems come up down the stretch. But I don't think they have any problems here in week 1. I like them to handle their business against the Hokies.
Yeah, just like we're talking about Alabama, being able to maybe go send a message, right? In week 1, South Carolina has a chance to do it in a big way here. You get that kind of unique Sunday window. You get a little bit more national attention because of that, or a bigger spotlight. If you come out here and have a really great effort, Lenora Sellers comes out and has a great game, you could be having people really talk up the hype of that South Carolina team. And yeah, Virginia Tech, like I said, maybe they're just here in this matchup. But regardless, it's still a Power Four program. So what a better way for South Carolina to start the season by having everything go right? Like I said, you get your transfer running back cleared. And if you come out and just deliver on both sides of the ball, well, that could give some big confidence for the Gamecocks.
It absolutely could. So that'll be, of course, that standalone window you talked about. That's going to be a nice lead up into Notre Dame, Miami. Going to be a nice Sunday of college football. But now we get into the best of the rest. These are kind of the other games that are maybe not top 25 opponents going at it with each other, but they're still going to be pretty intriguing games to watch. And I think there's no better one to start off with. Friday night, 2 different games going against each other. We'll start with the one on ESPN. Georgia Tech going to Boulder to battle Colorado. Caden Salter, Liberty transfer, is going to be the quarterback for Colorado this year. Georgia Tech, we know what they're capable of. We saw that last year. Haynes King back as well. The champion of LinkedIn. I don't know if you heard that story. This dude, Haynes King, I mean, he's connected with a lot of people from what I've heard. If he's not busy at practice, he's busy trying to connect with as many people as possible out there. He's a businessman in every sense of the word. Georgia Tech, 4.5 point favorites in this one. This should be a pretty fun game, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game where you get 2 great clashes of styles, right? Georgia Tech's kind of buying into that blue collar type team. One that similar to what we talked about with Notre Dame wants to be able to, hit you in the math a little bit. Their defense isn't as good, but that's okay. They still like to have some fun trying to run the ball down your throat at
Tyler, it doesn't
times.
matter what your defense is if you can hold on to the ball for 10 minutes. That's a proven fact.
Exactly. Exactly. And then for Colorado, I mean, what a big moment this is, right? Post Travis Hunter, post Shadur Sanders, we really get to see what Coach Prime could do now that, well, quite frankly, his cowbells are gone. What kind of coach is Coach Prime? What kind of program is he going to be able to build? A lot of intrigue. I don't know if we'll really learn much about the ceilings of these teams of this game, but for one of these teams, this is going to be a good little early season confidence booster because they're going to look across out and say, "Hey, this is a tough team. This is a team that has guys that you got to really try to lock down." So, like I said, I don't know how much we're going to learn from it, but one of these teams is going to get a good confidence booster.
Absolutely. And I mean, I like the contrast of styles we've got in this game. I like the grit versus kind of the flash we've seen from Colorado. You make a great point. It's a weird sounding point, but it is true. It's the first time we have to see Coach Prime be more coach than Prime, it feels like. We got to actually see how
Yeah.
he works as a coach, and it's year 3, which is crazy to think about. But Georgia Tech, we didn't do an ACC preview, but I am high on Georgia Tech this year. I think they have the makings to be right there in the mix to win the ACC. So I think it's no surprise I'm picking them to win this one.
Wow, mix in the ACC, interesting.
I think they're that team.
Cade, with what's gone on in Boulder in this off season, Coach Prime having his health scare, he's had to watch and support, Shiloh and Shadur try to chase their NFL dreams. Everybody's kind of down, right? Saying, well, your golden boys are gone. Travis Hunter's not there anymore to carry your team. I feel Colorado might make a little bit of a statement here. I think they're going to get Bowler rolling. I think they're going to have a good crowd behind them. And I think Caden Salter is a guy that wants to prove he can make it on the big stage. And this might be a little bit of a key game for him to do so. I'm going to take Colorado as the underdog.
Hey, we finally got a disagreement here. Also, can the winner of this game be declared the 1990 champions? Can we settle that as well this week? Can we
Oh,
settle
don't
two
get it
things?
started on that,
I mean,
please. With
I
all
think
the
I know who it should have been, but let's settle this on the field, I guess. But we've got to go to the next game before we turn this into a debate about that. Auburn and Baylor, the other primetime game on Friday night. Baylor, a 2.5 point underdog at home. Auburn, we've heard more and more about the potential 3 quarterback, 3 play caller strategy. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on at Auburn. I joked with you, Tyler, before we started this video, saying I'm not gonna turn this into a let's just laugh at Auburn segment. They haven't done anything yet on the field to deserve it. But man, they've done so much off the field that they kind of deserve it. Baylor's just here. Baylor's going to be fun to watch. Sawyer Robertson, if you believe the hype, he's a phenomenal quarterback. Yes, Baylor's going to be beat up at running back, and that's going to suck not having one of your star runner or one of your good running backs, star running backs, whatever you want to call him. He's out for the entire season. That is going to hurt Baylor a bit. But I can't understand for the life of me with all this, and I get the injury situation there for Baylor, but I still can't understand for the life of me why Auburn is a 2.5 point favorite in this game. We don't know what Auburn's doing at quarterback. We don't know what their offense is going to do out there. We have no idea if anyone is capable of doing anything. We've at least seen what Baylor has done, and they're the home team.
Well, that's the thing. I think regardless of how good you believe Baylor's going to be this season, a lot of people have them as dark horse of the Big 12. If not, their favorite, right? And Auburn, just the more we hear coming from camp, it sounds like it's a mess over there. You mentioned 3 potential play callers. They're talking about having, you know, Freeze call one down, then have the OC the second down, and another guy the third down. That's a mess. And then at quarterback, you thought Jackson Arnold transfers over there. Okay, fresh start for him. Chance to take control there and prove what he could be. And sounds like it's not going well. So this Auburn team definitely sounds like a mess. I'm with you. I'm not sure how they're the favorites here, other than just the good old, well, they're the SEC team, so they've got more talent. I'm not so sure Baylor's going to try to really open a can here to prove, look, we are a serious contender.
Yeah, and I mean, and we talked about it in the SEC preview. I like everything else about Auburn's offense except their quarterback situation. I think they've got the
Yeah.
receivers. Eric Singleton was an amazing transfer that they went out and got. It's not like Auburn's incapable of dropping, 28, 35, 42 on the right day if that offense is really clicking. It's just you've got great receivers, and we said this a lot. We say this a lot in the preseason videos, but who's going to throw the ball to them? Auburn's got a lot of questions, and they're not going to have a lot of time to answer it. I think Dave Aranda and his staff, they're going to see that immediately. I like Baylor in a, I guess, technically upset. The matchup predictor says pick Baylor, barely, but lean towards Baylor. I like the Bears at home on a Friday night. I think this could be, I mean, if Colorado and Baylor both win, what a nice statement day possibly for the Big 12.
Absolutely.
But we've got to keep on going because we've talked about the Big 12 a little bit. They're going to come up again here. TCU goes to the land of Bill Belichick. Hey, guys, did you know Bill Belichick is the head coach of North Carolina? I can't wait to hear 4 hours about that. It's not going to get grading at all. TCU's a 3.5 point favorite anyway, is the funny part about this game. And I feel like, again, we know where the spotlight is going to be. We know what the focus of this game is. But TCU is just here. TCU is expected to be a good Big 12 team once again. They've still got a fun offense. They've still got Josh Hoover at quarterback. They're still sitting there just kind of waiting to be respected. And I feel like they're not going to get any respect in this game. North Carolina is going to suck all the attention up, all the hype, not even hype, I would say, just kind of more intrigue from everybody to see how this weird experiment's going to work. And they get the Labor Day game all to themselves, all that focus, the eyes of football fans on Chapel Hill. We don't say that often.
Yeah, we don't. And, thank Bill Belichick and his extraordinary, girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, for, I
Yeah.
guess, bringing that hype. What a marketing machine that is. But does it translate
Oh,
to
gosh.
football? That's
That in
that's what
itself
I'm
could
not
be its
so sure about.
own freaking segment.
Yeah. Oh man,
Don't get me started.
I think is what we're going to find out in this game and about North Carolina is that while Bill Belichick might be able to set it back into the right direction, there's still a lot of holes. This is a program that, mind you, under Mac Brown the last couple of years really hadn't been that good. They've been scraping by to get wins in a conference that, quite frankly, isn't super deep. So, while I think Belichick has put some decent pieces in place, I think TCU is definitely more of a complete team. I'm not so sure they won't easily cover the spread.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I think TCU, the pieces are there. I mean, we've seen this with Sonny Dykes teams the last few years. They get into a lot of one possession battles. We've seen when that goes their way, they get those breaks, they can make a big run. If everything goes against them, they're looking at 5-7. What version of TCU are we going to see again this year? At least to start the year, I like them on a positive note to get the win on the road.
So we're predicting a big weekend for the Big 12. Is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing.
but big weekend for the Big 12, I guess. And that we've got one more game to get to. This is what I had to sneak in here on you. This is my Sicko's Delight game of the week, if you can even call it that.
Okay.
It's tomorrow
Sure.
or Thursday or this evening if you're watching this on Thursday. East Carolina goes to NC State. 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern in Raleigh on the ACC network. And you're thinking, Cade, you're dumb. NC State's a 14.5 point favorite. What makes this game so special? This is a rivalry. NC State fans will not tell you that this is a rivalry. East Carolina fans will. If we remember, if you're a bowl season fanatic like I am, and you try to watch at least parts of every bowl game or every bowl game all the way through because you love college football that much, you will remember that this ending of ECU NC State last year had a referee get bloodied, had a giant brawl in the final minute of the game, and that East Carolina beat NC State. You can't say this isn't a rivalry if you had a brawl so bad that refs were bleeding. I'm sorry. This is a game that means a lot. And NC State, every time it feels like they play East Carolina. I've said this before, Tyler. You've heard me preach this gospel. I'm going to say it again. Weird things happen in this game. This game will be close for no reason in the fourth quarter. That is how every NC State ECU game I can remember goes. This game will be wild. This game will have stupidity. This game will probably have an elite play that doesn't make any sense at any point. There will be fun. There might even be blood, but there will be a true sickos college football game, I think, in Raleigh. I don't even know if I need to make a prediction. I guess I'll say NC State, but I don't know if there's a way that they can cover 14 and a half unless ECU's just fallen off a cliff from what I can last remember. I like this game. This is probably where my attention will start drifting later on Thursday night to start the season. Even with Nebraska-Cincinnati going on, even with all these other games happening, you got to keep an eye on the ACC network, folks. It might get wild.
I like it. I mean, it sounds like a good old knockdown, drag-out fight potentially on
Of
our
course,
way.
now that I've said this, it's going to be the most boring game of all time. It's going to be like 24-3 or something like that. But I hope I did this game justice and some people watch this because I'm excited, man. I mean, this is one of those like football is back type of games to me where it's like, you know what? Sure, I'll sit down and watch this. This is going to be cinema. This is going to be peak entertainment. It's finally back. And I mean, that's what it is. We've been through the wilderness for however long now. We hit the sports lull. We've had baseball, and that's great. Baseball's good. I don't hate baseball. But we're back to college football. We're back to the big two, if you will, because the NFL will be here soon as well. NBA will eventually be back in October. Peak sports season is about to open back up. Baseball will get into its postseason. All that fun stuff. We're back, Tyler. We're back to sports being important. More important, I guess.
And it feels good, Cade. It
feels good. We made it through the wilderness. I have something to talk about every day with the people at work. We don't have to do small talk anymore. Life is good, Tyler. Life is good.
That it is. That it is. Can't wait. Can't wait to see probably half our predictions go up in flames.
Yeah, I mean, we disagreed on two of them. So, like, by default, one of us has to be. We'll probably split that too. We know how this works. We'll split that somehow. But I know the moment I get home, I'm sitting down. Boise State, South Florida is going to go on, and all's going to be right in the world. That's all I need to know about Thursday night. Is it's going to be a good time once we get started in Tampa, rolling all the way through the night. It's going to be fun. Friday will be the same. Saturday will be great. Sunday and Monday will be great as well. We'll be back either Monday night if TCU North Carolina gets bad enough, or maybe Tuesday when the AP poll comes out. It should drop Tuesday, I think. We'll be back for that either way. As always, folks, if you made it all the way through this, we do sincerely appreciate it. Give us a like. Leave a comment down below. Tell us what we got right, what we got wrong. Are we stupid? Are our picks terrible? Or are they good? And, you know, it's always nice. You know, we're at 158 subscribers now, I believe. Let's see if we can get that number up to 200 at some point throughout football season. Trying to think if there's anything else. Of course, subscribe, just mentioned that there. But if you are listening on Spotify, yes, we do have a Spotify as well. You can follow us over there if you just want the audio only. Take us on the go. Give us 5 stars over there. All that fun stuff. But folks, until next time, we've made it. We're here all the way to January. Let the ride begin. Football is back for everybody. Rejoice.